Hello and welcome to the Intel Brief. Today is Friday, 16 January. I'm your host Daniel, and today we're going to talk about Canada is hailing a new strategic partnership with China. Trump is threatening to use military in Minnesota over the ICE protests, and South Korea's ex-president Yoon is being jailed for 5 years over his attempt at martial law. So firstly, Ottawa and Beijing are forging a new strategic partnership which will yield historic gains for both nations, Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney told China's President Xi Jinping on Friday. Carney made the comments in Beijing while on a visit to rebuild ties with its second largest trading partner after the United States. In the statement, he said it is important to start a new strategic partnership at a time of division. He urged the nation to focus on areas that can bring historic gains for both, such as agriculture, agri-food, energy, and finance. This is where we can believe we can make immediate, sustained progress, he added. So what? I mean, this is a direct response to how Trump acted in his lead up to his election and, with the tariffs post getting elected. And it's pretty sad, to be honest. In my opinion, the West should be working together to try and counter China's growth and China's essentially ever-growing ability to influence the world, as I don't think the way they want to control the world is good. I don't think their way of controlling society is good, and they have a lot of issues with freedom. That's kind of the hard and fast of it, in my opinion. So alliances and deals like this are extremely detrimental, especially from, Canada, who is, the US's northern neighbor and was their largest, closest and most strategic ally. Trump's comments directly ruined this and pushed Canada away. It essentially got Mark Carney elected, as he ran on a fuck Trump kind of platform. And said that he would do stuff like this, which the majority of Canadians wanted because of how Trump was talking about them. So yeah, just a pretty sad day in, Western geostrategic politics, as another ally kind of turns towards China to counter Trump's narratives, essentially. Whether this can be changed once Trump leaves office, I don't know. We've still got at least 3 years of this. So, a lot can be done, and a lot can be destroyed in that time. But we will see. Next, United States President Donald Trump threatened on Thursday to invoke the Insurrection Act and deploy military forces to Minnesota after days of angry protests over a surge in immigration agents on the streets of Minneapolis. Confrontations between residents and federal officers have become increasingly tense after an ICE official shot and killed Renee Good in a car 8 days ago in the city, and the protests have spread to other cities. So what? I don't see how Trump thinks that putting more forces into Minnesota is going to solve this issue. I completely get that he was elected to, crack down on illegal immigration and do stuff like this. But, I think most Americans agree, the ones that I talk to anyway, that the majority of people are fine. It's the people that are coming across the borders unchecked that they mostly cared about and they mostly wanted to stop, which Trump has done. But raids like this by masked ICE agents, dragging people out of their homes, out of their cars, out of their workplaces, are not seen very positively by the majority of Americans, from what I understand. And yeah, I don't think putting more forces into Minnesota is going to solve that. I think it's going to make the divisions more extreme and just drive up tensions. It just doesn't seem like a good way of solving this. I think there should be dialogue. People should talk to each other and try and figure this out. But Trump doesn't want to do that. He just wants everyone to shut up, listen to what he's saying, and yeah, everyone should fall in line. it's pretty scary to see as as an outside observer to what's happening in the United States right now. It's doesn't look good. Hopefully it is because the world still relies on US hegemony for security. So we need peace and stability within the United States for that to endure. And that's how I see the world. And lastly, South Korea's impeached President Yoon Suk Yeol will be jailed for 5 years over abuse of power, obstructing justice, and falsifying documents in relation to his failed martial law bid in 2024. This is the first of 4 trials linked to his shock martial law decree. Although short-lived, the move triggered nationwide turmoil, sparking protests as MPs rushed to the National Assembly to overturn Yoon's decision. Yoon's action plunged the country into a political crisis, the judge said on Friday, noting that he had consistently shown no remorse. Friday's ruling offers clues to how the rest of Yoon's trials could go. His string of charges range from abuse of power to campaign law violations. So what? While scary at the time, everyone kind of saw it. They saw the troops pour out of the barracks, try and take over the city. And, it really shook both South Korea and I think the rest of Southeast Asia as a whole as they saw what was going on. It is a good example of how democracy can have checks and balances to ensure that one person can't take over. Something certain other countries that we've talked about should take note of. But yeah, it is good to see that, one person here can't just decide to take over the country and everyone will fall in line and the system will enable it. While it's a scary test, it is a test of South Korea's democracy and its processes, and they worked. Yoon tried to take over, he failed. The military essentially didn't do what he had told them to do, and now he's facing trial and punishment for it, as he should. It's, while scary, a very good example of how it should work and how it should be done. That's basically all I have to say on that. Anyway, thank you for listening. I've been your host, Daniel, and I'll see you again on Monday. See you.